That PT did a number on you.
Well, everyone, welcome back to the 3 of 7 podcast. We appreciate you joining us. If you're new to the 3 of 7 podcast,
Gosh, you're starting this thing out with the energy of Joe Biden, man.
we're content creators and a training company. You can find us on
Mr. Rogers.
You can find us on the podcast. You can find us on Instagram, and you can find us on the YouTube, and you can find us in the backcountry. Which leads me to our housekeeping today. We got an Alpine mission coming up. Alpine mountaineering mission. And I'm looking forward to it, son. Are y'all fired up about this?
You sound like you are.
This is an advanced mission. Man. It goes one of my favorite places on earth. I love it up there.
Yeah.
So we're going to get chilly on the airplane. That's going to be kind of ugly. And
wait till you see the suit he's going to be wearing.
Oh, gosh.
I got a travel suit.
I'll make a video for y'all.
I don't really want anybody to see this.
There's going to be a lot of folks see it in the airport.
Well, that's fine. It doesn't need to be broadcasted.
You know, I haven't flown.
I get in a mood when I wear this, okay?
I haven't flown since they...
they don't know how we travel.
I haven't flown since they stopped the whole mask thing. Can you still get on a plane without a mask?
I believe so.
Yeah, we wouldn't be flying if you couldn't.
That's true. Yeah, it's been
should be driving anyway. It's about ridiculous.
It's gonna be strange to walk in the airport without getting harassed by the.
Oh, you'll still get harassed.
TSA. Gosh, those people got a freaking terrible, miserable job, man. Whew.
Why don't you tell them about the Guardian Directive?
After the Alpine trip, I'm going on a high country mule deer hunt, and I'm really looking forward to that too. Are you guys looking forward to that? Oh, I forgot. You guys aren't coming.
Yeah.
I forgot you guys aren't coming.
I'm looking forward to not
mule
doing
deer
that.
hunt.
I would have went, but, we're flying. It's just too much. I got to get back.
How would you not look forward to a high country mule deer hunt?
Well, how were me and Blake going to... We couldn't shoot anything.
Well, yeah, because you guys didn't apply for your tags.
Yeah.
Freaking turds, man. Oh, yeah, the Guardian Directive. Yeah, I'll tell you guys about that.
Who?
Oh, you don't even know about this. So,
gosh, I got something in my throat. I got to get me some water.
We've decided to, are you serious, man? What the crap? We've decided to come out with a new course of instruction.
Oh, yeah.
To give you guys the opportunity to finish your year out with a very unique training experience that we've never offered before. We're calling it the Guardian Directive. It's a 2 full day extensive course, and it's going to encompass everything from shooting to some tactics, defensive close quarters, combat tactics, night shoots on nods with IR lasers and thermals, team PTs. It's all inclusive. It's all in-house. You guys are going to have a team house to stay in. Now, this is only offered, of course, to our alumni. So if you have graduated from the basic course, the Proving Grounds, or something like that, one of our courses, get ready because you're about to receive an email invitation to this Guardian Directive course of instruction, limited to 10 people. That'll be in November. It's going to be freaking epic.
Well, man, I knew about that. Where'd you get the name?
I was researching words that wanted that I want
random word generator.
No, I wanted this to be more of a not a like a tactical
yeah
course, right? I wanted this to be more of a, more of like a protect, defend, like keep.
All encompassing.
Yeah. And so those are the words that I came up with. I like the name.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about it. And we'll have Edgar there. So if you guys don't know Edgar, then you probably hadn't been listening to the podcast long. Edgar did 25 years in the Army. A little over half of that as a Green Beret. He's a sniper. Probably one of the best shooters that I know. So it's going to be a great course. And yeah, I'll probably send that email out today. Did you get that ginned up for me, Blake?
Yeah.
It's about freaking time.
I said I would. I do what I say.
So that's the housekeeping for 307 Project.
Why are you so low on energy, man? I mean, you expect anybody to listen to this?
Just feeling relaxed today, man.
Like
I'm hoping you guys could bring some energy. Krista hadn't even said anything yet.
Something you listen to when you go to sleep.
Nope, I ain't bringing it.
Hey.
Blake ain't bringing it. Krista ain't bringing it.
What about that team PT today was legit, man. Y'all.
That's why he's low on energy.
Krista said
It is.
Krista said this is
Assassin.
this. Oh, we already did this PT 2 weeks ago. That PT today was way harder than the PT we did 2 weeks ago.
A little bit.
Holy smokes, man. If y'all want to get a good PT, let me highly recommend this little circuit for you. A 4 mile timed run. All right. When I say 4 mile timed run, the timed run part means that you are supposed to run this 4 miles as fast as you can run it. Okay? Are you okay over there, guy?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you?
You're really distracting me from this conversation here with all the crap you got going
I'm
on.
sorry if
Getting
you
up,
can't focus
getting
enough
candy, taking your
to carry on a conversation.
Look, man. Look, guy. That crap ain't gonna work around me. Get settled in. We're doing a freaking
I
podcast
just
here.
adjusted my hat here.
Well, look, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, it ain't gonna work. All right.
Well, I guess we'll have to talk.
He's dropping a few levels on the adaptability scale,
I'm
by
gonna
the way.
freaking counsel you at the end
Big
of this
time.
thing.
You can go back. You can go negative. You know that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
A 4 mile timed run means you run the 4 miles in the least amount of time that you can run it in. Okay, that's what that means. All right.
Well, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Well,
Okay.
pretty weak.
So, 4 mile timed run. You should be under 30 minutes. Okay, you should be under 30 minutes. Even if you just got done eating a half pound of burn ends at Blossom Hill, you should be under 30 minutes. Now, you get done with that, you do 100 push-ups. You get done with that, you do 200 sit-ups. You get done with that, and you walk and lunge 1 full lap around the track.
And those aren't timed, so they're just at your own leisure, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
and then after you're done with those walking lunges, you do another 4 mile timed run. That's a dang good workout. What was the hardest part for y'all? You got looking pretty dang poopy pants on your last 4 mile time run, Blake. I told you, I said pick it up, and you said no.
I'd settled into my pace. You know, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and ain't nobody gonna push me. I'd settled into my pace, and when I realized I'm pretty close to the 2 hour, I picked it up a little bit and finished it in our time cap.
What was the hardest part for you?
Probably running after the lunges.
It took some time for your legs to come back, didn't it?
Yeah.
What about you, Coach Krista?
I think the least pleasant part was just the running for me. I just don't enjoy running.
Especially on a track for
I know,
8 miles.
It's boring.
Krista, you looked
dumbest
absolutely miserable. You looked like I think you hated me there for a little bit
No.
out there. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Because I said,
I think you looked focused.
when we were doing sit-ups,
that's it right
no,
there.
Krista hated me. When we were
No.
doing sit-ups, I said, boy, I tell you what, these sit-ups, they just seem to go on and on and on. And Krista looked back at me and said, yeah, just like your mouth. I mean,
Yep.
she was so mad.
I wasn't mad. No, that's the story you're telling is like how mad I was at this workout and all that. And I didn't care.
He's trying to build
Oh,
it
no,
up.
go ahead.
My
You were mad.
commentary on the workout was it was so uncreative because we essentially did the same thing 2 weeks ago with a couple of tweaks. Lunges instead of the air squats, and then a little more running on the back end. But it was essentially the same thing.
Look, Chad's been doing these 4 mile time runs like twice a week, and so now he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out here, and this is what we're gonna do for Team PT. Hey, first one to send the message gets it." 8 o'clock in the morning, he ain't just barely rolled out of bed. He typed it the night before. He rolled over and hit send as soon as he opened his eyes.
It was a good workout. It was a good workout. It was challenging. So
Yeah, it was a good workout. Left me wanting a little more, but I mean,
Well, you should have went faster.
no, I'm all
You
about
finished with 1 minute to
sustenance.
spare.
Hey, the time cap's the time cap.
What was it, an hour and a half?
2 hours?
no, it wasn't 2 hours because we started late.
Hour and a
It
half.
was more like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just finished when we're supposed to finish. I'm on
I
time.
think
I'm
that
not.
that was the only part that was frustrating for me personally because I hate leaving something on the table, and so I didn't finish all of the 4 miles at the end, and so I was frustrated that I couldn't finish that last bit.
Can I give you a little advice, Coach Krista?
Run faster.
You must grow stronger.
Well, I heard you and Chili over there saying, "Hey, you think he's going to make it?" Nah, he ain't gonna. I don't think so.
I didn't say that. I asked him and he said no.
Well, that's what I didn't say. You said it just between the two of you. I've heard that.
Now, look, somebody's going to get me something to spit in.
You're distracting
Because
the
I've got
crap.
this fake
Look.
dip right here. This
What's
is made
up?
out of tea leaves. Give me that cup over there, Blake. Get up and get that.
No, I'm not doing it. Dad has already quit his nicotine, and you still ain't quit that Zen. What the crap, man?
That's why
Are
I
you-
got this, man.
Look, he just quit. He's off. You've been dipping that Zen for 8 months to a
get
year
me
now.
something to spit in.
No,
Do you got legs?
It's a year.
Has it been a year?
This is the anniversary. He started it when the last yeah.
Yeah. He's now just addicted to Zen, not Copenhagen. I mean, you might as well just dip Copenhagen.
This is why I didn't get up, because I knew y'all sad sacks couldn't carry a conversation for the 30 seconds.
Blake
it
was
took me to
talking the whole time.
Get up and do a daggone thing. Okay, Chili. Now, what did you like? Did you like that PT this morning? Do you think it was good training?
Nah,
Don't think it was quite right?
it's all right.
How would you have done it? What would you have done different to have got a good workout in?
Well, it depends on what you want to work on. I mean, I can get wild with what I would do. I mean, go to a freaking mountain and just do repeats for 3 hours.
But on the track, what would you have done different to got a good workout
You
in?
and me work out on the track completely different. The track ain't for doing dang push-ups. You do those on your own time. The track's for running fast. So I do intervals or something.
That's why I do my 4 mile time run on the track.
I do my 4 mile timed run on the road.
Okay. All right. Well, I thought it was a good PT. The hardest part for me was definitely the lunges. It was just so slow. Just so slow getting around that track lunging.
I pulled
like
on
that.
you on them lunges.
Yeah, you did. And on the second 4 miles.
I pulled on you the whole time, but you know.
Yeah, I ain't going to beat you on the track. That's for sure. Well, all right, guys.
No, that's a good. I mean, for real, that is a good workout. I mean, as far as being multifaceted, you know, a lot of people don't ever add in anything else. You know, if they run, they just run. But you don't have to always do it in the same session. You know, like run, then push ups, then run. Like run in the morning, then run in the evening, and then do push ups in the middle of the day, or you know, separate them. I mean, I kind of like to just generally work out all day long. Never stop. For real. And some people like to get it all done in one session. I just like to work out all day long.
I don't like to try to. I find I get fitter if I split my workouts up throughout the day.
Well, I split them up, but it's just basically it's just one into the next.
Y'all got too much dang time.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I got things to do.
I work out like 8 times a day.
Chili works out, ships a shirt. works out, ships a hat.
No, really, shipping, that's great for doing push-ups. Do a bunch of push-ups, pack another one. Do a bunch of push-ups, pack another one. I ain't got time. I freaking make time. So.
Chili sold almost 200 hats in the last week and a half.
I know it.
I sold them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
And not
I
even
didn't.
mention the stickers and shirts and stuff.
I didn't sell them. But no, yeah, we sold out of all the dang hats.
That's crazy, man.
That's awesome. We may do another run of them.
Chad underestimates it.
Yeah. I would have done some more, but, you know. I was a little scared too.
You just get with me on that stuff, Chili. Don't worry about talking to Chad.
I was a
about
little
that.
scared too. 200 is a lot.
That's a lot of hats to sell.
Blew through them.
All right.
Well, hopefully they'll start showing up at races.
Yeah.
Start representing.
Well, I want to talk to y'all about something today. Because I've been seeing a lot of folks running into this daggone problem. You guys know
Hard shift.
one of my core elements of my particular mindset is not looking too far ahead. I've been trying to tell y'all this for years. People get completely overwhelmed because they look too far ahead. Now, why do people do that? Well, I think because of this cushy world that we live in, we have the capacity to do that. We have the capacity to look too far because all of our daily needs are met, right? All of our daily needs are met, whereas throughout most of human history, that wasn't the case. You had to really think about how you were going to get your basic necessities to stay alive on a day-to-day basis. Well, now, the life that we live here in a first world country, at least most of the people listening to this podcast, I'm not saying everyone, some of you guys may be struggling to meet your daily needs, and that might actually be a blessing. Because we actually, nowadays, most of us just have to create things to make our lives difficult. And you can do that in a healthy way, or you can do that and it actually destroy you, right? So I see so many people that spend the majority of their lives looking ahead and thinking, when I can get to this point, I'm going to be set, right? Whatever it is, when I can make this much money, I'm going to be set. When I can get to this point in my faith, I'm going to be so much better, right? The reality is that never happens. That's not the way life works, okay? I've been in this situation before. I can remember, multiple times I've been in this situation before. I can remember thinking, well, when I was a young man and I joined the Navy, I can remember thinking, well, if I can ever just get my trident and graduate training, I'm good from that point forward, right? I can remember when I graduated Buds, they had a $40,000 bonus. And I had never had more than about $800 to my name at one time, up until that point in my early 20s. And I thought if I could get that $40,000 all at once, I'd be good, man. I'd be set. And what you realize is when you reach these milestones that you just think are going to be life-changing, life is still just life. It's still just life. It's got the same difficulties, maybe not the exact same struggles, but something else will take the place of the struggles that you might have been experiencing. Say financially, you know, if you reach a financial goal, you say, well, this is going to make my life so much easier. No, it doesn't make your life easier. Your problems are just different. Really, they are. So, what do y'all think about this?
I mean, I experienced that too, and I think a lot of times you subconsciously are striving for things like that. Maybe you don't even realize it. But like when I was working in construction, and that my goal was to pay off all our debt, like to pay off the house, to pay off the cars, and that was really what what I was invested in doing. And I didn't even realize how much. But once, you know, I made the transition to come here, we sold our house, made some money. We don't own a house, but we also don't owe on a house. And paid all of our cars off, and I don't have any debt. And you got money in the bank. And I was like, well, now what do I do? I've got extra money. I don't have debt. This is really what I was striving for, and now I've achieved it. And now what? And then you just, to your point, you kind of create your own problems, because I think that's just human nature. You're going to find the next thing to strive for or struggle against. And so taking it day by day, even at whether you got debt, I mean, that's a good goal, but you can't become so wrapped around it that when you achieve it and you think it's going to be life-changing, it's not. It's really not, because day to day, if you got a place to live, if you got a car to drive, if you got food to eat and water to drink, it's all you need for the day. Tomorrow, do what you got to do to make those things happen again. But it's not a bad goal to work toward that, but you can't become so wrapped around the axle about it, because then you'll build it up to be more than it is, and it'll be such a letdown when you actually achieve it.
Yeah, Krista said something at breakfast. She said, well, this isn't to say that you shouldn't have goals. So I just want to hear from you, Krista, about how this type of mindset kind of works in relation to also having goals, but also being able to, you know, live more in the moment, or where your feet are.
Right. I think it is helpful to have goals in life, of course. It gives us direction, it gives us purpose, it gives us something to work toward, but ultimately you can't find meaning there, and you can't see that as your final resting place or what's going to give you total fulfillment. I think I've seen clips of interviews from people, actually several, who have achieved a lot of things. I can't remember which athlete it was, but somebody who had won the Super Bowl, and people who have gotten all kinds of awards. I've seen lots of clips of people who have achieved these really great things, and it's like, and it's in their sphere, it's in their wheelhouse, and it's like the ultimate achievement. And many times I've seen those people interviewed, and they reveal that they feel emptier at that moment than any other moment before. Like the moment they reach the pinnacle, that's when they feel the emptiest, or the most empty. And so I think that's probably a very common feeling that people have. I think part of that is because that's not all of who you are. That's not just all of your identity. We're multifaceted creatures. As humans, we do our jobs. We have, you know, these certain aspects to our lives, but there's a very deep longing and I think a very I would say spiritual and relational part to us that can't be filled with these accomplishments, can't be filled with money, can't be filled with awards. And so I think that's just going to be an ongoing, constant part of your journey, just as a human being. So I think it's important to have goals and choose something to work toward and put your energy toward that, but realize that's not going to fulfill you ultimately.
Yep.
I think there's a selfish component of it too. Like, you know, these things, we're talking about people achieving things like a Super Bowl or something as little or big as you want to make it, is, you know, paying off debt. I mean, those are really selfish things and things that don't involve and aren't for other people. to your point, there's no fulfillment in it. I mean,
and you can take that thing like paying off debt and say, oh, great, I'm doing this so that I have more resources to serve other people.
yeah,
And you can take that and what's the purpose in it?
Yeah.
So the goal itself isn't the bad thing. It's what's the motivation behind it? What are you going to do with it once
Yep.
you accomplish that thing? How is that going to serve others? How is that going to propel you into something even greater in the future?
yeah, and I wanted it totally for a selfish reason because I felt like, oh, well, good, I'll be more secure or less dependent on these things, and it won't create the stress that I had. But really, that's just abusing the liberty or the freedom that I had received. And so I think if it's not involving or really to benefit somebody else, that, at least for me, that's where I would find fulfillment. Like, oh man, I'm so glad I got to this. This really is a big deal because now I have all this money that resource time, whatever, that I can help these other people with. That would be worthwhile. But to achieve it and then say, got that done, doesn't really feel like I did much because it was for myself, and it's just selfish.
Do you have any thoughts, Chili? Well, how many times I'm looking back on my life and thinking, how many times was my focus directed improperly, right? So how many times did I set a goal and where my focus was honed in on reaching that goal? And the process that led me, the journey that led me to ultimately achieving that goal was almost mindless. I knew what I had to do, and I just went through it mindlessly. And I found there's been so many times in my life that I have not found enjoyment in the steps, in the process, in the journey that led me to the goal, because all I could think about was achieving the goal and how that achievement was going to bring me fulfillment, right? And so I can think about this in terms of my journey through SEAL training. I wish so bad I could go back and do that again, because there's so much that I don't remember. There's so much that I missed. There's so many times I could have laughed. There's so many times that I could have really soaked in that experience that I was going through, that process, and I didn't do it because I was moving through it mindlessly, just doing what I knew I had to do every single day, and my focus was on the end. That was it, right? And so essentially I cheated myself out of so many memories, so many things that I should have banked, I should have paid more attention to, I should have found more enjoyment in, and I didn't do that. And for instance, this right now in my life, I want to do a 300-mile mountain bike ride in December. And that's a goal. That's kind of a goal that I've set for myself. And so I'm having this conversation for myself because I'm like, I need to find enjoyment in the process that's leading me up to that over the next few months. Like tomorrow, we're taking the bikes to Stewart. Like, I need to find enjoyment in that, right? Like taking the bikes down to Stewart and talking to him about which bike we're going to use and how we're going to outfit it and spending time with him, right? And then also all the rides and the runs and the things that I'm going to do leading up to that, working through my gear. I need to be able to find enjoyment in that, those daily tasks that are leading me to the ultimate goal. I miss that so much. I miss it with running. So many times, how many times, I don't know if you operate this way, Chili, you probably don't, or if you did, you wouldn't tell us, but you set a goal for a race, right? And then you know what you have to do leading to that race, right? You know what you have to do. For me personally, a lot of times I'll go through that entire workup, all those training runs. Yeah, they're specific, but I just go through them mindlessly. I'm not finding enjoyment in those because I'm so focused on that race day, right? And executing on that day. Miss out on a lot in life, man. A lot of cool stuff. I've been guilty of that.
Well, I think like for buds and stuff like that, you almost, I mean, I don't know, but I would think you almost have to be that way to get, like, you're not going through that to enjoy it. like maybe there could have been some things you enjoyed, but would they have just served you as distractions during that time and hindered you from achieving what you want?
No. You would have had to if I would have been more mature, I would have been able to find joy in the misery.
Yeah.
Because there's humor in misery, right? So there's so many things that you could have really banked in your memory. You could have laughed at. You could have been connected to, because there's so much humor in the midst of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just went right over my head because I was focused on graduation day, right?
From my experience, I almost feel like the process that's engaged in getting to that goal or striving for that is almost more meaningful than the achievement itself. I think,
agree.
and that's kind of what you're saying along those lines.
It should be.
But I think just that the battle, the fighting, the growth, the struggle, the purpose in it, and I think some of it is the goal is like right in front of you. You're hyper aware of why you're doing this. You're making a choice day to day. Like, I'm choosing to suffer. I'm choosing to struggle. I'm choosing to strive. I'm choosing to sacrifice. And I know exactly why. And so there's just so much richness there in purpose and meaning and just feeling alive in it. And if you're doing it with other people, even more so, And so I think that's almost more powerful to me, the process of it, than the actual achievement sometimes.
It should be. Yeah, and I think that we should all keep that in mind. And when we set a goal for ourselves, we should keep that in mind from the very beginning. Like, okay, we've set this goal. Now let's figure out how we can we should enjoy the process, and let's just be cognizant of that.
And you can do this with, what you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
You can do this with kids too. You can get, like you can have infant, and it's like, gosh, when they get out of these darn diapers, then I can't wait to like have they get their personality and go do these things. But it's like, man, they're only infants, and you only get to hold them and feed them for a certain amount of time, and whether you enjoy that or not, or you think it's harder or easier, it's neither one or the other. It's just different. And so, I mean, my kids are only 5 and 3, so I can't speak for through the teenage years, but as I see them change throughout their life, the challenges are different, but that's really
that way
it.
With Chili, yeah.
They're just different. They're not any harder or easier, in my opinion. I think it's just a different challenge, and you really do have to just enjoy it, and you can't wish away your time and say, oh man, I can't wait till they can go run with me or go, hunt with me or do any of this stuff. Just enjoy them in the time they're in.
Yep. That's exactly how I felt with Chili.
Back when he was like 7 or 8.
No, I was like, there was such a long time there when I was like, man, when I can just get Chili back healthy, where he can run with me again, and he can start doing what he loves to do again. When I get him back to that point, it's going to be smooth sailing, and it's a whole nother set of problems now.
Now he's beating you, and you can't figure out how to catch him.
No, it's just like now that he's back healthy, I've got him back to health. It's like there's a whole nother set of things that he has to overcome. So
now I'm going to have to handicap him so I can keep up with him.
What's the issues now?
Oh well, no, don't worry about it. You just I
think the issues are with you. You're struggling.
You have to be mentored subconsciously, right? So like
you're struggling.
You can't be directly mentored because you're too hard-headed. Luckily, I'm smarter than you, so I can mentor you subconsciously. You don't even know it's happening, but you're being molded into this machine that's just unstoppable force, right? But it's all in the peripheral, so you don't even know it's happening.
You remember when you forgot your ID that time?
Yeah.
Going to Tyler Perry Studios?
He was so mad. Golly. Thing is, I didn't forget it either. I intentionally left it, and he said, don't ever do that again.
Well, he told me, he said, Chili knew he was going to have to present his ID, so he left it on purpose.
You know he did, too.
Yeah, got in anyway, too.
Oh, man. You remember when I lost him on the last Alpine trip?
Yep.
You remember how mad I got?
That was insane. You overreacted there.
I got so freaking mad. Oh,
If you had been smarter, you could have took a second and went, hold on, before I freak out, let me see if he's just right here.
I just
he's
love you,
right
man.
there.
I got worried to death. I just love you, man. I think the other. Go ahead, Krista.
Well, I was going to say, you can go ahead. I was going to change, go on a different trail. But I was thinking about something you said at the very beginning where you're setting this up, where you said some of the people listening might be struggling day to day. They might be just worried about meeting their basic needs. So they may be not looking to the future because they're just concerned about today. And I think there's something there. And to that's not necessarily, to those people, it might sound insulting. Like, are you kidding me? Like, blessing in that? Are you kidding? But I do think there's something there. And I was just thinking that might be an interesting thing to unpack. Like, why do you think that is almost a blessing or a good place to be sometimes? Yeah.
Well, I think that is
it's more simple.
It's a more real struggle, which to me is closer to the way mankind is supposed to live. It's strange when you think about you. I've heard this a lot, and I don't know the statistics on this, but I've heard that a lot of these the homeless population, that they choose that life, like, and you think, why? What is wrong with you? Why would you want to live like that? They have found, not all of them, obviously, but I believe there's a percentage of them that have found peace and contentment in having nothing and focusing on meeting their needs day to day.
It's the simplicity, right? I mean, we live in we have complex, multivariable problems.
We create
that, you know, when your only problem is you need more food, well, that's a single variable problem. There's one way to do it, essentially. I mean, there are always multiple ways to go about getting it, but ultimately we have so many problems there's a million different ways to do it.
We don't really have problems, though.
Well,
we have problems that we have created.
Well, sure. I mean, that's the complexity of the lives we live, with so many variables running around and so many options and so many choices and so much freedom.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I spent a lot of time with very, very poor people in Africa. And these were some of the most joyful, smiling, happy, relational people. And you know what they had every day? They had a little Ziploc bag of water, and they had a little bit of rice with some mystery meat in it. And that was all. That if they had that, a little Ziploc bag of water and a little bit of chow, these jokers, I mean, they just went day to day, man. You never heard them talk about what was going to happen a month down the road. You never heard them mention what was going to happen next year.
Well, a lot of times,
you never heard them mention what what's my 5-year plan. It was incomprehensible for them to even have a conversation like that.
A lot of times our goals make us unhappy. I mean, they really do. They distract from, like you said, the day to day, and our goals make, a lot of people, and they struggle with goals and everything. They won't aim small enough. They pick some goal. Say they weigh 300 pounds and want to get to 200, and so they've got a 100-pound weight loss goal. What about losing a pound? I mean, maybe lose a pound first. But I think a lot of people think they're too good for that. That's too small. It's too insignificant. If you lose a pound 100 times, then you've done it. But they won't do that because they want to lose 100.
Yeah.
Well, if you lose 1 pound 100 times, you've done it. And you're way more likely to achieve it that way, or at least be better than you were. That's a lot of things, man. People won't try to get, they'll have some lofty goal out there that's too big, it overwhelms them. Well, maybe you can't get to a certain level, truly, like your potential is not there, but you could get better than you were, and that's the point. And people, it's almost like you approach it like you're too good to just get a little bit better. Just get a little bit better. If you do that a lot, you can get a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I think there's pride, and I think there's also impatience wrapped up into that too.
But that's how anything you've ever seen anybody achieve, it was a series of small goals that were achieved. They never went and achieved a big goal all at once or took a big leap. Never.
Well, you can't.
It was a series of small ones that you stacked up. Like, that's how everybody did it. There's not a single person that didn't do it like that. And by the way, there are people who had a lot easier road than you. Like, that's reality. There's some people that they're way more freaking talented. You had a goal to be a professional athlete. There's some people that they had the same goal and they had to work a lot less hard than you would have to. And you may not can do it. You may pick a goal that you truly cannot do. And that's the message that everybody wants to say on social media is this hoorah, you're great, you're awesome. No, we're not. We all pretty well suck. That's the message I like to give is we're all sinners. We're all separated from God. And in just the day-to-day life, we all start, we're not good. You're not good. Like, that's the point. You're trying to get better. And some people have an easier road, and some people, you can't be as good as them. That's what everybody wants to tell you. Whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve it. Nope. I can want to be in the NBA. I ain't going to be there. But I can be better than I am at whatever it is. I can pick something and be better than I am now at that in infinite times. But people refuse to do it because they think if I can't get to this level, then I don't want to do it at all. I don't want to get any better. And I think with the question you had earlier about, why people struggle with the goals aspect of it is they won't aim small enough.
I like that, man.
Well, there is an example of people where people make that big instant growth, and it's in business. You go look at any business, because it can happen. Like, you can have it, and overnight your business could go from
that's bullcrap, man.
to $1 million.
No, you can't. They put years of work in before that.
But
there is no such thing as an overnight success.
The growth happens instantly. It may have put a lot of work for that to happen overnight, but what I'm getting at is when you go from little to big, look how the business functions for the next 5 years. When they went from $100,000 to $1 million of business, their business sucks for that next 5 years because they grew too fast. It can happen, and I can show you businesses that it's happened. But
I can tell you, there's no such thing as an overnight success with anything. There was a lot of stuff that was put in beforehand.
But there's overnight growth.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the overnight success, Chad has said that about me before.
Other than lottery.
Whenever we met at a race, and he was like, this dude came out of nowhere. Dude, he didn't see the freaking tens of thousands of miles that I put in, years and hours of work. It wasn't freaking overnight.
Yeah.
Like, you just didn't. A lot of people just didn't know who I was, but that didn't mean I just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's the same with everybody. Like, anybody you've seen successful, you knew that you didn't know them, and then you knew them. So in your mind, they weren't successful, and then they were. But like, a lot had to go into that.
Oh yeah.
So, but people, that work that overwhelms them.
Yeah,
I think so.
Well, I'm thankful for the relatively slow growth that we have experienced over the last few years, because when I look back, I've looked back so many times and I've thought, man, if I would have had to do some of the things that I do now, and if I would have had the resources that I have now, if I would have had them all at once 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. So I think the other piece of this conversation is the fact that we have, in many ways, me included, by the way, all these conversations that I have, I'm usually preaching to myself. Usually that's where these topics come from, is something that, I see in myself. And I think that we have really lost sight of what a tremendous gift a day is. A day that you get to be alive, especially if you're healthy, and especially if you have the people that you love alive and with you. Like, can you even comprehend what a gift that is? Just that. 12, 15-hour period where you're alive, you're good, you're healthy. It's a freaking tremendous gift from God just to be able to live that way for that time. Brush over that. We just think we're owed that. We just think it's going to keep going and going and going, right? We don't keep in mind that no, these days, these individual days are extremely limited. And I think that I lose sight of that quite often. It's so easy to get wrapped up, to get in a mindset where you just think this is the way it's going to be forever. No. Anyways, the last thing I have to say is when we talk about living each day as an individual day and acknowledging the gift that it is and being content with the fact that our daily needs are met, I just wanted to talk about the freedom that is found in reaching a place where you can be content with your daily needs. And I go to Scripture, Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. Paul says, I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. What freedom that is, man. The secret of being content. Man, talk about a that's the ultimate way to live life, is to find that secret of contentment no matter the circumstance. And where does the contentment come from? Your Creator. Knowledge and relationship with your Creator. Without it, I don't think it's achievable.
I do think that's key, talking about why people are empty when they hit those accomplishments. And I do think that is a important part of it. I think there's something deep there. While you were talking earlier, I pulled up a couple verses similar along those lines. These are in Matthew 6. Right after we had talked in a previous podcast about the Sermon on the Mount, we've brought that up a lot, where Jesus is talking, and this is right after that following chapter, where he talks about not being anxious and where your focus should be. And so verse 19 says, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. So a lot of these things we're going for, our accomplishments, are temporary. They're not even going to last. Yeah. That Super Bowl ring, that, the $1 million you have in the bank, it's not going to last. And so don't store those things up, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And then it goes on, and at the end of that chapter, and then it talks a lot about the next few verses about how God takes care of, like the sparrow takes care of all these things, these things that we take for granted that just magically happen, that God's hand is at work sustaining and creating. And then the final verse of that chapter says, therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. So I think that goes back to what you were saying at the very beginning. So, and I think that, what this is saying is we need to be focused on today. We need to depend on God. Remember who he is, that he sustains us, sustains this whole world. And there's enough trouble today. Mm-hmm. So just stay present, stay where you are, and trust that God's with you in it.
The great I am. Mm-hmm. You're exactly right. He sustains literally everything that has any form or life or anything. He sustains everything. No, that's good stuff, Krista. And yes, we say so many times that Scripture is a blueprint for human life on earth, and I think that's part of that blueprint, telling you how to get the most out of these few short days that you have to walk around on this planet here.
Well, you're talking about contentment. A surefire way to never be content is to be selfish. And I think Blake earlier said the most important thing on this podcast, and it was kind of glossed over. But a lot of people's goals, they live under the illusion that accomplishing this goal will make them happy. That's why it's their goal, because they think it'll make them happy. Well, all of these goals are selfish. I mean, they're almost always selfish goals centered around you and centered around making you happy. And that's never going to work.
Yeah. That
will never work. And I've had so many goals in my life, and dang near every single one is selfish. And if it didn't start out that way because you had good intentions, it becomes that. And it is so hard to break out of that cycle, but if you don't, you will never be happy, ever. And so many people, man, they chase goals because they think it will satisfy them. They think it will make them happy. And if you keep doing that, you never will be. And a lot of people then go, well, what would I set a goal for? If it's not, to try to get something out of it, to try to make me happy or whatever, then what do I even set a goal for? And the only thing else is just look outside of yourself, try to help others. I mean,
that's it. That's it right there. I mean, that's where I'm at in my mind. Like, why do I even want to run anymore? Why do I want to do whatever, this bike ride, whatever? It's simply, I can promise you this. Like, I'm not being corny here. I'm really not being corny, I promise you. It's to inspire others and to show other people, hey, you can do this. Like, that's the only reason I'm doing it.
Yeah, and I'm not there. Like,
yeah,
you go back in and out of the cycle of like, well, I'm going to pick this race because like I want to win it, and it's going to be, but it's totally selfish. And it's like, I recognize that it is in the process, and it makes the process hard. But I think it's a good thing that it's making the process hard for me, because I've got the wrong goal, I've got the wrong intention. I've got the wrong goal. But for me, how you set a goal to help others, like, it can start that way, but then it becomes selfish because you have to do the thing, win the race. Okay. Well, ultimately that becomes selfish every time for me, because it just does. It's natural, but I want to avoid that. But I'm telling you, that is very difficult, and I think it'll be difficult for anybody who tries to do that. Like, oh, I'm going to, bike 300 miles to inspire others. But it's really difficult in the process to not just get centered with it.
Yeah.
And just it's so hard, man.
Yeah.
And I don't have much to offer like how you avoid that other than just continually.
You know what's really cool about the YouTube and the videography portion of it is that really helps me keep the mindset of this coming up year, the things that I want to do. The fact that we get to capture it, and for me, the things that I want to do next year are all about that. Because I know people are going to be able to see it, and not to see me, but to see it and be like, "Wow, I want to go do something hard like that. Like I want to plan a mission to be better for my family, to be better for my community, to show the people that look up to me, hey, this is what you're capable of, right?" And that's what's so cool about the video stuff, man. It interests me, Chili, because like I told you, when you go to do your, if you go and, race 100 miles and you try to win, I'm like, hey man, we should video that. And you're like, nah, we ain't videoing that. But it's like, but it plays into, I mean, you're being honest right now. Yeah. It plays into the fact that, no, man, I'm here to freaking race and win because this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
Right? So I don't know. Maybe a lot of listeners can't understand what I'm saying about the video stuff, but like the fact that now we have the capability of capturing this and sharing it in a very impactful way with people makes me want to do more for people.
Well, it's, it some of that is 100% just selfishness, just not, whatever, want it to, I don't want to have to deal with nothing else and just be able to focus. But a lot of it too is also, that's like inviting the attention to put on you. You know what I'm saying? And that's a heavy burden.
Well, you can't help.
I don't like that.
You can't help the way people receive it.
Well,
if people receive something that you're doing to inspire them, if they receive it as, oh wow, Chili's awesome, you can't help the way they receive it.
I don't know. It's interesting. I guess I differ from you in that too, of like inspiring people. I don't think that's would be my goal.
Look, man, people need to see people doing hard things. They are surrounded by people that most people, they're surrounded by others that all they want to do is drag them down. They want that's just how it. People need to see people doing hard freaking crap, man.
Why do you think people can't be internally inspired?
Because that's not the way everyone's wired, man. That's not everyone's gift. People have different things that they're good at, and some people need a spark. Some people need to see someone that they look up to do something great to make them want to go further. That's just not how everybody's wired. Well, I get it, man. I get what you're saying.
And if you're externally inspired, then at some point you got to take over.
That can happen.
I mean, well, it's got to.
That can happen.
Or else it'll just flame out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well.
So I have a thought that along turning the conversation a little bit, going back to the idea of getting outside yourself and not being selfish in your endeavors. It made me think about the story of Eric Little. Chili, have you heard of Eric Little?
I don't think so.
Interesting story. But he ended up running in the Olympics, but he was a missionary, and there is a lot of tension around that. And at one point, there's a movie made up about his story called The Chariots of Fire. I think it was made in the 80s. So if you watch it, it's a really good story, but like drink some espresso, watch it in the middle of the day, because it's one of those movies that's kind of, slow. It's really about the story. So, but very interesting story. But there's one point at which his sister, I think, named Jenny, confronts him because he's really fast. He's a good runner. And so there's this tension between sort of the sacred and the secular of like, you should be a missionary. You should be serving God. And in the conversation, he says to Jenny, he says, God has made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. And so that to me is also an example of doing something because you have this capability and you have these goals, and it's not even necessarily that he had this goal, but it was put in front of him, and getting outside of himself. He wasn't doing it because he could inspire others or because, of anything he could do for other people through it, but purely because he felt God's pleasure. And that's another way to get outside yourself and do things and accomplish things. So, if Chili runs a race or whatever, that, he doesn't necessarily have to do it for other people, for viewers, for people watching, but he can do it because he has an awareness of God has made me fast. And when I run, I feel his pleasure. He's pleased with me for using the gifts that he's given me.
Wow.
For expressing, like when I work out, I love, feeling the strength that is in me, but it's not because I am glorying in that, like, oh man, I'm so strong and I'm so this, I'm so that. I work really hard, but it's like, I really have this sense of like, this is who God made me to be. And I feel like I'm being more of myself a little more fully when I'm putting out like that. And so I think that that's another aspect of getting outside of ourselves too, and doing things and accomplishing things or going for goals that isn't a selfish mindset or posture. So
I like that. Yep. Well, man, there was a lot packed into this podcast. I appreciate you, Chili. Appreciate you, Krista. Blake. Chili said you said the most important thing on the podcast, so I'll tell you, I appreciate you too.
Thanks, Chili.
Has anybody ever noticed how long and skinny Chili's fingers are?
And his toes.
Look at his fingers.
You've known
did you
me.
play the piano growing up? Did you have to take piano lessons?
I didn't, but
I could see Chili at like a hole in the wall in New Orleans playing the
We met
piano
him.
like that guy. Yeah.
he's known me this long, and he just now says that. That's one of my defining characteristics.
Look like a father would know his son a little better than that.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school.
I don't see Chili a lot of times. I don't see him as a physical being. I just see his
fingers.
spirit.
Yeah, just like you don't see an individual, you see the team.
Yeah.
So you don't have to keep up.
Yeah, I just see his spirit. Yep. Well, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to support the podcast, join us on Patreon. 3 Sundays a month, we do Resurrected over there. And I just ordered me a new GoPro, so I'm going to start posting a little bit of cool stuff on there for you guys. I got me a GoPro 10, Chili. Man, that joker's nice, son.
New GoPro, huh? You know how to use it?
No, it hadn't came in yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. And share the episode with somebody that you think would get something out of it. We'd really appreciate it. We love you guys. Talk soon. Nuff said.